Good morning. Today we're going to be writing equations in point-slope form. We currently have two forms of linear equations that we cover in class. We have the standard form, such as 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. And we also have the slope-intercept form, such as y is equal to 2x minus 1. So two forms. Another form of linear equation is called a point-slope form. And if you guys notice, I've underlined the negative y1 and negative x1. And just like we cover on the slope, when we're covering the slope, when it says negative y1, that basically means the opposite of the first y. When it says negative x1, that means the opposite of the first x. So instead of this formula, we're going to rewrite it using a little box. So it'll be y, and then box, my slope, x, and then box. Inside will be the opposite value, because it says minus y1 of y. And here will be the opposite value of x. Let's go through the first example. We're going to be using the information that's given to us to be able to write an equation. So on example number 1a, it says write the equation of a line that passes through the point. They give us the point 1, 2. So I want you guys to highlight it. A point has two components, the x and the y value. And they also give you that the slope is negative 3. That'll be your m. And we're not going to be graphing it. So you guys can cross this out. Let's go and write down our equation. So y box is equal to mx box. And we're going to substitute the values, the information that's given to us. So this will be y. This is a positive 2, so it'll be minus 2. My slope is negative 3. That'll be in red. And then we have x. The x value is 1. And the opposite will be negative 1. From there, I can go and solve for y. So I'm going to use my distributive property of y minus 2 is equal to negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 will be positive 3. So I'm using my distributive property. And just be very careful with your signs. So negative times positive is negative, negative times negative is positive. I need to leave the y by itself so it can be on slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. The y has to be by itself. Therefore, I'm going to move my 2 to the right. It's going to become a positive 2. Y is equal to negative 3x. This will give me plus 5. And then I'm done. Let's go through the next example. Write the equation of a line that passes through the point. They're giving me a point, so I want you guys to highlight it. That's x and y. And they also tell you that the slope is positive 2. We don't need to graph it. I'm going to go ahead and write the equation. Y box is equal to mx box. And I'm going to substitute the information that's given to me. Y, this is a negative 4, so the opposite will be positive 4. My slope is positive 2. Then we have x, this is a 5, so the opposite will be a negative 5. Remember, the reason that we're placing the opposite just because our formula says minus x1. So the opposite of x1 is negative 5. The opposite of negative 4, it says minus y1. So the opposite is positive 4. Now from here, I'm going to use my distributive property to solve for y. Draw the line, distributive property. So we have y plus 4 is equal to 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And my last step will be to move the 4 to the right. It's going to become a negative 4. Y is equal to 2x, negative 4 and negative 10, same sign. I add, keep the sign of the bigger number. And your answer will be y is equal to 2x plus 4 minus 14. Let's continue with the next example. Example number 2. We're going to go through the same process. It says write the equation of a line that passes through the point negative 2 and negative 3. And that will give you the x and the y. And it has a slope of positive 4. That will be your m. Let's go ahead and write your equation. Be y box is equal to m x box, where we're going to place the opposite. So be y. The value of y is negative 3, so be positive 3. Your slope will be 4. Then will be parenthesis x. This is a negative 2, so be positive 2. Once we substitute it, we need to solve for y. So we can place it on slope-intercept form. We're going to use our distributive property to simplify. So it gives me y plus 3 is equal to 4 times x will give me 4x. 4 times 2 will give me positive 8. I need to leave the y by itself. Therefore, I'm going to move my 3 to the right. It's going to become a negative 3. Y is equal to 4x and then plus 5. So my equation is y is equal to 4x plus 5. It has a slope of 4, and if I graph it, it's going to cross the point negative 2, negative 3. But don't worry about graphing it. For now, it should be fine. Let's go to letter B. Now pause it. See if you guys can work it out by yourselves, and then you can check your answer. Go and pause it. Great. So for letter B, it says write the equation of a line that passes through the point 2, negative 1. I'm going to highlight the point that's given to me. That'll be my x and my y. I'm going to write down the equation. Y box is equal to m x box. Y, the opposite of y, this is negative 1, so the opposite will be positive 1. My slope is 3. And that'll be x. This is a 2, so it'll be negative 2, the opposite. Draw the line. I'm going to use the distributive property to simplify. So be y plus 1 is equal to 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. My last step is to leave the y by itself. Therefore, I'm going to move my 1 to the right, becomes a negative 1. Y is equal to 3x minus 7. And that's my final answer. Let's continue to the back side. On the back side, it's going to be slightly different. On example number 3, we don't need to graph it. We're just going to solve it. It says, write the equation of a line that passes through the points negative 5 and negative 3. Now, in order to be able to find the equation, we need to be able to find the slope. So they give you guys 2 points. I'm going to find my slope first. So I'm going to circle the y values. And all of you guys are very good at finding the slope. It's a very quick process. So it'll be negative 3 minus 4, negative 5 minus 2. So if we simplify this, this will give us a negative 7 over, same sign you add, keep the sign of the bigger number, and that is equal to 1. Now that we have the slope, we can use our formula to find the equation. Now, you have 2 points. You can decide to use either one. I'm not going to use the first point. I'm going to highlight it. That'll be my x and my y. So I'm going to substitute the opposite value. So this is a negative 3, will be positive 3. My slope is positive 1. This is my m. Then this will be x, the opposite of x. This is a negative 5, so it will be a positive 5. From here, I can just solve for y. First, you must use your distributive property. That gives me y plus 3. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times positive 5 is positive 5. I'm going to bring my 3 to the right. It becomes a negative 3. We have y is equal to 1x, and that gives me positive 2. Now, if you don't want to write down the 1, you just write down an x, that should be fine. And that's the equation. And if we graph this equation, you'll be passing through both set of points. Now, let's continue with the last example. You need to write the equation of a line that passes through the points -1, 4 and 1, 0. Same thing as before, because they don't give us the slope, we need to be able to find the slope. I'm not going to circle the y values. Our slope will be 4, the opposite of 0, we're just going to place -0. -1, the opposite of positive 1 will be -1. And we're just going to simplify. 4 minus 0 will be 4. Same sign, you add, keep the sign of the bigger number. Positive divided by negative will be negative. 4 divided by 2 will be 2. Then from there, I'm going to use my point slope form. Now that I have my slope, I can use my equation, my formula, to find the equation of the line. I'm going to go ahead and select the first point. Now you can select the first one or the second one. It doesn't matter. You get the same answer. So this is x, this is y. And I'm going to plug it in. This will be y. This is a positive 4, so it will be a negative 4. My slope is -2. This will be x. This is a -1, so it will be positive 1. I'm going to use my distributive property to simplify and solve for x. So -2 times x and -2 times positive 1. Y minus 4 is equal to -2 times x is -2x. -2 times 1 is -2. I need to leave the y by itself, so my last step is to move the 4 to the right, becomes a positive 4. Y is equal to -2x and then plus 2. Combine like terms. So this will conclude the lesson for today. Please email me if you have any questions, and have a great day.